Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. You are asking Ashley. And today's question is, am I an asset or liability? So we all know you want to live your best life, and living your best life encompasses a man that's going to bring a lot of value to the table. And obviously you feel like you deserve that man, but you have to really think, am I an asset to that man or am I a liability? And let's just talk about that. How can you bring value to a man that's already earning a good living, that's already doing his own thing? He has his own house, he has his own car, and he has all of these things on his own. How am I adding value to him? And that's pretty simple, but let's talk about how you don't add value, because sometimes women think these things add value, but they really don't. So if you say, okay, he has a house and a car and all these things, and I also have a great job and I get paid really good and I have a house and car and things like that, typically a man, especially a man that's making over 6 figures and doing very well for himself, that's not really moving a needle for somebody. That's good. Like, okay, you know, we could talk, but that's not going to get the man to give you the ring. He's not going to be like, you know, oh, she makes so much money, that's a wife. Absolutely not, because you have to think about it. He has his own money and he's a provider. He's going to be taking care of the household, so he's not really looking at your money as an asset. That's your money. You can do whatever you want with it, typically, and you might just add a little sum. Let's say you pay a little bills, maybe you want to upgrade your car or something like that. Like, it's just like the cherry on top, but the cake is coming from him. So you having money, not moving the needle. And another thing that women try to use, which is sexual intercourse. Ladies, that is not an asset, okay? And it's also not a gift. So don't say Valentine's Day, I'm gonna do you real good. No, that's not it. No, okay. In the moment, that's great, but long term, a man is not looking at your sexual organs unless it's, you know, you're producing children. And again, that's just like a microwave thing that happens and then that's it. That's not something that's sustainable long term. I know some people like, oh, but mine's is good and I drive the man crazy and stuff like that. That is not sustainable long term, okay? After you have kids and after, you know, you're doing so much in life. And I'm not saying that it goes down, but you're not going to be doing the tips and the tricks and the splits and all of that you used to be doing. It's just not realistic. That's not an asset. And you need to just throw that away. So now, let's think about what men do look at as an asset. So you have to think about what a man really wants. And typically it's very simple for most men. They just want to feel needed and supported, and they want to feel at peace when they get home. Because a lot of times men are working so long and so hard hours, or they, you know, in a very stressful situation at work. So when they get home, they truly want peace. So what does that look like, and what are the action items that a woman can do to truly add value to a man's life? That's obviously taking care of the house, and that's pretty simple. Cooking, cleaning, but it goes beyond that. When you have a household that you are running, basically, it's like a business, because you're making sure all the little things are taken care of. You might have, you know, people over for dinner that you're going to be hosting. You have to really strive for excellence. If my husband is talking to a colleague and they're coming into town and they're invited over, obviously I want to make sure the home is clean. And as you move up in your income and he moves up, you might not be physically cleaning the house. You'll be able to hire help, but you want to make sure all the moving parts are in place. You're making sure all of the little charcuterie boards are set up, and you have fresh flowers, and you're doing all those special things that men just don't think about, men don't do. And that truly adds value to their relationships, because, you know, they might not even say anything about it, but they might just mention, oh, this is a nice home. Something simple as that. They feel comfortable there. That can really get a business deal across the finish line. Little things like that. And people think, you know, oh, I'm working at home, I'm just submissive, and I'm doing all these things. Oh, I'm a slave to my husband. You know, he's my boss, and I'm just a worker. You have to truly think about it. in life, typically you're working for someone. I mean, you go to school and you go to school, typically, you know, if you're not an entrepreneur, you go to school to work for a man, right? So why not work for a man that's directly contributing to your household, directly contributing to the growth and the wealth of your legacies that come after you? Why not pour into that instead of being so focused on a career that you spent so many years in college for and got all this debt for, just to work for another man who's building a legacy for his family? So now, you want to definitely make sure that your husband is your top priority all the time. And that's truly an asset. And it goes unnoticed by people outside, but your husband really does notice those things. It's like simple things. Like, for example, my husband come home from, you know, a business trip, and I unpack his bag and I organize his drawer. Now that's something that's very little, it took me very little time. I just, you know, I finished laundry and I was like, you know, his drawers are a mess, so let me just, you know, do it anyway. He appreciated that. He, you know, everything's organized and cleaned up in his drawer, and the littlest things, you know, that goes such a long way. And also, you know, your children, your legacy, those pouring into children in those pivotal years, those younger years, is so important. And when you are truly a great mother, that is, men love that, because all in all, men are looking for that motherly figure, not to necessarily mother them. Of course, some of the aspects of a mother you're going to be doing for them, because you'll be cooking and doing those things, but they truly want someone that is a great mother, a great example, because they think very highly of that. Now, there are situations when a man will have a child with a woman that they do not see as a wife. And obviously, we see that every day. But we're not talking about those women, because they're not looking at them as an example necessarily. It's purely sexual and other things that aren't like the best things to focus on. And again, that's very short term. You want to think about those assets that are very long term. So let's talk about liability. Now, a lot of women say, obviously they want a man to provide, but we need, as a whole, because sometimes we look at social media and we see things, we need to be more realistic. Now, women, of course, a man is supposed to provide. I definitely am a pioneer for that one. I believe in that. But if you're saying to a man when you're first dating him, okay, you need to fly me out here, you need to buy me a new dress from this designer store, and you need to buy me bags and shoes and perfume and all these, and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Girl, if you cannot pay for that yourself, you need to be more realistic. I'm not saying that you need to lower your standards, because of course your standards should be high, but equating, you know, a high value man to only what he can give you will go wrong 100% of the time. That's when you do become a baby mama and you're just collecting child support instead of having a long lasting marriage. And let me tell you, that is always the best route to go, because when you are in a long lasting marriage, you are truly creating a legacy. When you're just having his children, that's not really moving the needle for the next generations. If you're thinking long term, that's not really moving the needle. Yeah, he'll take care of those kids, but what is he really leaving you? What is he really leaving your children? I mean, especially you have children here, there, and everywhere. He don't even have enough to leave anybody, because he spend his money in so many different households instead of focusing on one household and taking care of those children and you inside of one household, and focusing that extra money on building a business or investing and doing other things so he can have money for generations to come. And I'm a finance girl. I got an MBA in finance and things like that. So to me, it's just true numbers. It makes more sense for you to be focused on one pot versus multiple pots everywhere, because statistically, the man who is married and has children within that household is going to become more successful and produce more income. And that's stats. So, I mean, you could look it up. A man who is married is going to, in general, will be more successful than his counterpart that is single. So let's say a man has a bachelor's degree in whatever, and another man has who's single has a bachelor's degree. That man that's married, on average, will make as much as the man who has a master's degree who is single. So it's going to give you a bump up, and you can check out those statistics. It's just, men who have that strong foundation at home. And honestly, it's a lot to do with, you feeling like you have something to work hard for. You have someone that you value so much, and you want to impress her. You want to give her the world. That's what men say. I want to give her the world. They're going to just work harder. And it's innate. Men want to be needed. And you as a wife, you can make him feel needed, but you can also be an asset. Okay? And people say, and this is the negative people that said, oh, for women who focus on their husband and their children for all those years, they lose those years in their career, and then the husband will leave them or cheat on them, and then they won't have anywhere to go. When you're so focused on that negative mindset, it will happen. Let me tell you about mindset. If you keep thinking it, and start speaking it, it will happen. If you are focused on doing the best you can do as a role as a wife, your marriage will flourish. Now, I'm not gonna ever say that it will be perfect, though. It won't be hard. It's going to be hard. It will be certain times he may make a few mistakes. But if you are pouring into your husband and you are truly doing all you can do as a wife, as a mother, as a support system for those businesses that he's building, you might end up being the secretary, honestly, in the start of the business. Or if you have certain skill sets, and that's another reason why your education might come into play. So I'm not telling people not to go to college, go ahead and get married, don't have any education, just focus on being a wife. No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, we have a choice now in modern times as women to do things on our own and be independent thinkers. So I definitely am a huge proponent for that. I have my master's degree, so I'm not saying only be a wife. No, I'm saying be an asset, and put that in front of everything. Don't put, working for a corporation that is not worried about your children. They're probably not even worried about you. How they laying off people nowadays, they're not worried about, you as a person. You're just a number at the end of the day. You're just what you can do for them. But with your husband, you have a soul tie. So it's not all about the numbers. You understand? It's more art and science. So if you are truly being an asset to that man, not only will you obviously receive the benefits of that, this man will flourish more than you think he will flourish, because he'll have such a great support system. What you think he can be, he'll become even more. And honestly, you might think he could become more than he could think he can be. So you guys can play off each other. He might be like, no, I know. He might feel bad about himself, but if you're patting his back like, baby, you can do it. It doesn't matter if you don't have the experience he has, you can do it. And I've seen my husband do it. My husband is, a young, in his early 30s, and a lot of the times he's 99.9% of the time, he's the only black man in the room, and he's the youngest man in the room. And that's because he truly has a great support system at home. So he's not worried about what's going on at home, or, if his kids are okay, because I'm going to take care of that. And he's able to pour into our businesses. And honestly, that's vice versa as well, because, he was able to focus on his career when our daughter was very young, and I took a step back and I was at home with our daughter. But once, he, got a lot of good traction, and I'm not saying that he wasn't successful before I met him, because he was, but he was able to get the real position that he was looking to have. He was able to pour into me. He's like, okay, I'm taking care of the bills, so now you can follow your passion and be the best you can be. And obviously that has become very lucrative for us as well. So we definitely pour into each other, but that's because we truly are assets to each other, and we truly love and support each other. So you have to really think about this and ask yourself, are you an asset or are you a liability? Because I see a lot of stuff on social media, ladies, and I see a lot of women saying, and I actually saw another YouTuber speaking about this. Oh, I live a soft life. I get to wake up and go shopping, and that's all I do. My husband takes care of everything. No, girl. This wife job is a hard job. And if women are out there shopping and stuff like that, and they're not, diligently working on being the best person and best wife and best mother, somebody may be lurking. So you need to make sure that everything is good in the household, because you have to think about it. If you're just shopping and you have a nanny, you have a cleaning lady, you have an accountant, you have a house manager, you have your husband has a personal assistant, what does he need you for? And he might be sitting there one day like, what do I need her for? Because my assistant supports me. My cleaner cleans and organizes things for me, and so on and so on and so on. So why do I need this woman who's just spending my money? We don't want to be in that position, because that's when things get a little shaky. You want to make sure that you're an asset. Always be an asset. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for chatting with me. I hope you really think about that, ladies. And also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time on Asking Ashley.